So Nicole, tell us a little bit about your film.
It's called Lionheart. It's a sports documentary, follows the story of one Canadian woman who is a sprint kayak athlete on her quest to make the Olympics. The story kind of starts, she's 28, she does make the London Olympics, and that's a critical point for a female athlete. Like, you have to devote 4 more years. And for a lot of women who are ready to start their lives and start their families, it's really a choice. You can't do both. But Genny decided she wanted to do both, so she and her husband had a baby, and she continued to train. So the last 4 years have been quite a journey for her, up and down. She's had a lot of trials and tribulations. And amazingly, she actually did just qualify to the Olympics about 4 weeks ago. It was one of the best days I've ever seen, like not a dry eye in the entire sports stadium. It was pretty incredible. But she's this incredible, successful example that shows that you can combine a professional sports career with motherhood. And there's really not that many examples of it, at least in Canada. So I was a sprint kayaker when I was a kid. I met Genny when I was probably 12 years old. She was that role model that everyone looked to. The coach would highlight and say, if you want to be a really strong, determined athlete, be like Genny. So I've always known who she was. I moved away from sports. I went to university, studied journalism. Kind of paddling was very far from my focus. But then I just started hearing about her. She had a little bit of stuff in the media when she first had her baby, and I was still living in the same place, which is the east coast of Canada, Nova Scotia. That's where she's from. And I just kept hearing about this woman who's having a baby and continuing her sport career, and it felt like a good story. And I met with her, and from there it was like I couldn't do anything but tell this story. So I've been following her ever since. It's been about 2 years, and I've followed her to all her major competitions. So you can have an amazing rapport with someone, and then as soon as you turn the camera on, everyone freezes up. It's just kind of human nature. So I think it's super important to develop a relationship with your subjects before you're filming and while you're filming. I mean, when I can see a huge difference from when I started this project to now. Like, the trust that Genny and I have developed is pretty significant. The level of access I currently have, I'm almost treated like a member of the family. I am there for family dinners. I've been there for reading storybooks at bedtime. So it helps, because in those moments where it's really crucial that I'm getting the sports footage, which is, you have a 2-minute race that decides the entire fate of your sports career, having a camera pointed in your face is something that a lot of people would say no to. So the fact that I've been given the opportunity to be there and capture this is pretty special. I mean, when I started following the story, Genny's kid, whose name is Annika Lion, hence the name of the movie, she was 1 year old and couldn't really talk and run around, and now she's speaking full sentences and knows who I am, and it's pretty cool to even capture her growth. And I think that's part of why Genny and her family are really open to having this documentary filmed, is that it's a special time for them, and they're interested in being able to go back and watch this as well. But I think you're right. I think they also have to forget about what the end goal of this is. They are like, oh, it's just Nicole. She's shooting a documentary. Yeah, we don't know. It's been 2 years. We haven't seen anything. So you kind of forget about what the purpose is.
So you're just acting as a one-person shooter then. You're doing everything on this.
Basically, there's been a few larger events. So the Pan Ams in Georgia, USA, for example, and the Olympic trials, where I've hired one extra shooter. But other than that, all of the other footage I've captured is my own, doing all the capture, all the sound.
Has Casey Fraser been her partner all through this journey?
No. So Casey Fraser and Genny paired up, I would say September of 2015. So less than a year before the Olympic trials. So when I was starting this journey, she had a different partner, which basically they weren't going to make it. They weren't going to be fast enough. And Genny made a tough call, which is saying, look, I'm going to try this with someone else. Mm-hmm. And that other teammate actually ended her career. So it's, it was quite a hard decision to make, and she did wish she could be with that other woman, whose name is Una Launder. She's a fantastic athlete, fantastic woman. But Genny and Casey had raced before about 4 years ago at a couple of World Cup events, and they had a lot of success, and they had sort of gelled in the boat instantly, and they both are at the end of their careers. They both have the really same intense goal of making the Olympics, and it just clicked. And since then, it's worked really well as the results have proven.
Now let's go back to now talking about what you learned over your 2 years shooting a sports documentary.
So I wouldn't profess to be an expert. I'm still learning the ropes myself, but shooting outdoors sports, you definitely have to be prepared for weather. Something I've learned is that when you're far away from the action, obviously a zoom is very important in your camera, but with that comes a lot of instability. So a good tripod is so necessary. When I first started, I just had a sort of run-of-the-mill tripod, and all of this crucial race footage I'm capturing is like making you want to throw up. Yeah. They're fast. You're far from the action. It's always really crucial stuff that you can't reshoot. It's like you have one shot, there's one race, and that's it. So it's I guess a lot of practice. When I've shot races, I've gone in at 6 a.m. and I shoot all of the races before the really crucial one that I need, so that I'm comfortable with. So for kayak racing, you're quite zoomed in. You have to pan and zoom out, and then you want to capture the right size at the finish line, which is the crucial piece. Having a team is obviously way better. Actually, when I was shooting the Olympic trials, so I had a shooter at the finish line. I had him set up his size of just the final frame of her crossing the finish line. But I went up to the start of the 500-meter race to shoot the start of the race. So I got them circling around, preparing. It was just a race off, her and one other boat. I get to starting, and then the race is gone, and I don't have a bike or a car. It's a walk headway. So I pick up my camera and my tripod, and I'm running the 500-meter course, and the race ends. I hear an insane amount of cheering, and I don't know who it's for. So the day she qualified for the Olympics, I was the last person to find out that she had made it. It was really stressful.
What's one thing you keep in your camera kit that you wouldn't think other people would know to keep? Like, the knowable thing is always have a little roll of gaffer tape or something. But what is some little thing doing sports that you couldn't do without?
I always have a notebook and a pen. It's super important. You have to write down times that races are happening. You get a number of someone who's going to let you on the safety official's boat. That happened to me. You write their number down. And the few times when I haven't had a notebook and pen, I've really kicked myself. But yeah, you always want more batteries than you think you need. You want gaffer tape. I usually want a granola bar. Shooting sports. Yeah. You don't know how long you're going to be shooting. Like days where she's qualified for events and I thought I was going to be done at lunchtime, you shoot until 5 o'clock and you're almost falling down. But that's what documentary is. You don't know what's going to happen until it's happening in front of you, and you can't say, "Oh, can you guys hold on a sec? I really need a coffee." I worked for a while as a newspaper reporter, and it did not fit for me. And I sort of fell into working in the film industry as an assistant director, which is working behind the scenes, and it was all with scripted dramas, working with actors and costumes and hair and makeup teams, which I loved the quick environment and the team aspect, but I have always still wanted to be telling my own stories. Okay. And it just seemed like a natural fit to combine journalism, telling real stories with this new passion I have with film. And I had studied a little bit of documentary during my journalism career and had enjoyed it, but it wasn't until I'd worked in the film industry and saw where that can take you and how cool it is to be a part of creating stories on film, that I decided this is what I really want to do. I met a few people to work with as well, which was really fundamental to where I am now. So I definitely credit working in the film industry to where I am. Oh yeah, it's very important to have other people in the same scenarios as you because it's a lot of rejection, and especially for a first-time filmmaker, there's not really a lot of there's not a golden pathway paved for you with all of the doors open. It's hard, and yeah, I definitely have a small but really important network of people that I turn to, and I'm like, oh crap, I don't have a lav microphone, and I really need one where I really need help in the next 24 hours to, uh, yeah, Thunder just turned this down that I really thought was going to do it, and I feel pretty crappy. So I think definitely having it's not like a form, it's not a official documentary filmmakers support group, but it's probably a close group of friends who are also working in the same industry, same passions, producers, other documentary filmmakers, other people that work behind the scenes. And you share in your success.
Exactly.
When I was there for Genny when she qualified for the Olympics, the amount of positive reinforcement I got as a filmmaker was incredible. Like a lot of people have known how hard I've been working on this for 2 years plus, and I got a lot of nice messages saying congratulations, like it's really working out for you. We didn't really know, but we know how much work you put into this, like, and that helps too. So it gets you through the ups and the downs.
So speaking of all the hard work, now you're headed to Rio. So tell us about what's going on. How I know you got to be so excited that this is happening. You know, I can see in your smile that that you're over the moon about it. So
it's quite a contentious time to be going to Rio. There's obviously a lot of problems in Rio right now, so it's almost a little worrying, but it's very exciting. I'm going with Jenny's family, so she's staying with the Canadian Olympic team.
Okay.
So I'm staying with her two parents and her husband. Like I literally am embedded with the family, and we've bought tickets for every single day of competition. She's during the second week of Olympics, so we're only going for that week, so I won't be there for opening ceremonies or anything like that. But I mean, I don't even know how to prepare. I've always dreamt about going to the Olympics. When I was in journalism school, I dreamt about working for a broadcasting corporation, and covering the Olympics as a reporter. And now I'm actually getting the chance to go on this story that I'm so passionate about. So it is a little bit, honestly, a little tricky for me because media clearance is something that I don't really know how to navigate. Olympic media clearance required like 2 years ago you had to apply, so I'm well beyond that. There's only one media outlet per country that's given the right to film and broadcast. So I'm sort of going in there hoping for the best, talking to everyone I can, seeing if I can get in anyhow, but otherwise I'll just be filming not so much her race because that's kind of illegal, but filming her parents' reaction as they're watching the races, her husband's reaction which is also pretty powerful stuff. You know, watching your daughter who has gone through everything compete at the Olympics. So I might have to find some loopholes around telling the story, but actually getting to be there during it, I think, is going to be pretty powerful. And it's kind of the end of the journey. So I'm happy that I get to go along and see the payoff, not just all the hard work.
So now, how can people follow your journey now? On Twitter, what's the best way? Since you don't have a website yet for Lionheart, right?
No website yet. Yeah, I guess I should have been ready with plugs here. I guess right now the best way to follow is by following my personal Twitter, which is N Feriancek, Feriancek, my Twitter handle, and also by going by the hashtag LionheartDoc, which I pretty well have control over. No other people are using that hashtag yet. So you can follow that on any other platform, Facebook or Instagram as well.
Thank you so much for being a Movie Geeks United, and we look forward to following your story and then seeing the eventual film.
Thanks so much for having me.